Drop the point. Drop the point. Drop the point. Drop the point. No zero ham bone. Gonna drop the point. Drop the point. No zero ham bone. What is the point? Drop the point.
Hello world and welcome back to another episode of Drop the Point. I am Hambone and I'm joined by none other than Xero. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Drop the heroes, get with the zero, you know.
Yes, sir, I do indeed. Man, has it been a crazy week for Aim Assist. First, we got featured by Bungie on their community focus. And then the very next day, we got featured by Ubisoft. And they put us up on Twitter and told everybody to come watch our new show, Siege the Show, which comes out every Wednesday morning on your RSS feed. So it's been a crazy week for us.
It has, man. And we hit number 6 on iTunes, and we're featured on Podbean. I mean, a lot of exposure.
A lot of good things for us. Hence, we are very, very tired. We've been making videos nonstop and trying to get new content for you guys. And that's what we're doing here today. Today, we're going to be talking about some hype. Is the hype real on certain things? But before we get into that, if you want to send us any questions, you can do that by sending them to onpoint@aimassistgaming.com or by following us on Twitter @aimassistgaming. So with that out of the way, let's jump right on into it. Well, Zero, the very first question I have for you is the hype around the Division justified? There has been so much footage that's come out since the NDA was lifted from the alpha. So you've been seeing a lot of footage show up on YouTube, people walking you through certain things, giving you a little bit more meat behind the hype. And I want to know, from what you've seen so far, is the hype justified?
From what I've seen so far, I like what I'm seeing. I actually disagree with Josh. I think Josh was saying that he doesn't think it's, he thinks it's not as going to be as good as it looks or as they're saying it's going to be. He's still excited for the game, and he just doesn't think it's going to be as big as some people are making it out to be. From what I've seen so far, I'm pretty excited. I haven't had my hands on it, and Josh has, and he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to attack him on it. But I mean, dude, the things look really good that I've seen, and the only concern right now I kind of have is how big the world is. And, it's supposed to be a 1-to-1 scale of, New York, at least the areas that they're doing for the first part of the division. They're talking about Manhattan and, like, Queens and all that coming later as, like, DLC. But, yeah, I mean, so far, man, it looks really good. And playing Siege as much as we do, it's really got me in the hype train for just Tom Clancy games in general right now. I'm really looking forward to the next Ghost Recon and, the Division. I'm like, if Siege is this good, like, how good are these other Tom Clancy games going to be?
Absolutely. So. It really seems like it's going to grab a lot of people. I know most of you out there will know that we come from Destiny. That is our original game that we started as a podcast, as a company. And coming from a Destiny perspective, how much more of an RPG is the Division?
The Division looks like it dives a lot more into the RPG elements, more so than Destiny, from what I've seen. Of course, like I said, haven't had my hands on it, but it looks like just the way that you can go in and kind of fine-tune what kind of character you have, what that character does for your team, and everything like that. It definitely seems like they're addressing more of a RPG type of game. I don't see esports coming to the Division. I don't think that that's really what they're going for. It seems like they're kind of going for the old school PvE and PvP zones of like a MMO, such as World of Warcraft or something like that. So there will be areas where it's just PvE stuff. And then, of course, you got the Dark Zone, which is a player versus player area. So, yeah, I mean, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Not everything has to be esports.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, it looks really good. And I can't wait to get my hands on it. I really can't.
Me too, man. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that game. I tell you, my number one area of concern is that I don't usually like third-person shooters. And on top of that, I usually am not a huge fan of cover-based shooters where you push a button to kind of get into cover and then you can shoot over top of that or peek around a corner and shoot through that way. Usually those don't end up high on my list, so that's the one hurdle I need to get over for the Division. But all the customization on the weapons looks phenomenal. All the different stuff that you can get into. I really think a lot of our Destiny players will find the meat and potatoes they were looking for from Destiny inside of the Division, as long as there's enough fresh new content. But we'll continue to circle back to the Division. We're actually going to have Scoop on to talk about it and break down some new stuff and more in-depth stuff for you guys. So stick around for that. But I want to ask you a little bit about Overwatch while I have you here. I know you said earlier that this, or not earlier on this show, but earlier, that Overwatch is going to be an amazing game. It's a hero shooter, first person, right?
Yep. First person.
And it's coming out of the Blizzard camp, so we know that's going to be fantastic. And I want to know about it. Is that hype justified?
Absolutely. Anytime Blizzard brings a game out, anybody that has any interest in whatever type of game it is should be looking at it. So when Blizzard is a first-person shooter, if you like shooters, you should be looking at it. Now, hero shooters coming out is, I explained to Troy the other day, is you kind of have to look at them from like a range, like take Team Fortresses as like one side of the spectrum, and then like League of Legends is like on the other side of the spectrum, because they're trying, like hero shooters are trying to kind of meld like a team-based game objective, shooter like Team Fortresses, and kind of push that into the the MOBA realm of like League of Legends.
Right.
So like Battleborn's much more closer to the League of Legends side, and Overwatch is much more closer to, like, it's kind of, it's still kind of in the middle, but it's a lot closer to Team Fortresses. The cool thing about that game is all the characters in there have special abilities. It's just the tactics that come into play is, you're in a situation, you're like, okay, what do I need to kind of move forward here in the match? If the other team has, their guys picked out and they're kind of doing work on your team, that's when you can kind of go back and you're like, okay, let's switch up the team comp here and pick some of these other heroes because they countered this, tactic or that tactic. And I'm only using real general terms because if I just sit here and start naming out different, heroes and all that,
right,
and get into abilities, people won't understand because I haven't touched the game.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Will this game pull in our Call of Duty crowd? Is it going to pull in some of the guys we've met through Siege, or who's this appealing to?
I think it'll appeal to... It's going to appeal to... Hero shooters will appeal to Twitch-based shooter guys. It'll appeal to people that play Siege, people that play Plants vs. Zombies, people that play that terrible game Battlefront.
Oh, my gosh.
It'll appeal to a wide spectrum. And there's going to be some sweaties in there. I guarantee you're going to find a way to be sweaty in that game. There's going to be some real casual stuff, man. You can definitely get into the hero shooters from any spectrum. You can go in and just have fun with it. They're addictive. They're gonna have those traits like MOBAs, and a lot of people are probably like, well, I've never played a MOBA, I don't want to jump in, it's a lot. And all I can say is, like, MOBAs are super addicting. If you've never played them, then you don't know how addicting they can be until you put your hands on them. So you can hate a MOBA, but as soon as you put your hands on it and start learning the mechanics and actually playing them, they become very, very addictive. It's like a drug you don't want to take. It's like, oh, but you can still become addicted to it. Yeah, I mean, hero shooters, I'm telling you, will be the fad of 2016, and maybe the next couple years to come. But this is the year of hero shooters. I won't stop saying that because I guarantee hero shooters will be the big talk this year.
Ooh, I mean, you heard it, folks. Those are some bold words there. So let's break this down a little bit. We have the Division, which is completely on the RPG, MMO side of things. And then we have hero shooters, a mix between MOBAs and first-person shooters and tactical and all types of different things put into one lump sum. So if I'm stressed for money, right, and I'm taxed on cash, what should I be looking at? Which game is it that I want to get? Not necessarily just between those two. If it's something else, what is it? But what's that one game that it's like, if you miss out on that, you're going to be sorry?
Right now, if you were looking to buy something right now, I would really point you towards Siege. I think if you're not playing Siege, you're missing out. I think, depending on how the year goes for them and their content releases, I really feel like Siege is special. And I think that, people should be playing it right now. Looking forward, one that this is going to kind of come out of left field here, but Jonathan Blow, the guy that created Braid for Xbox several years ago, his new game, The Witness, is coming out on January 28th.
Oh.
And like I said, I know this is from left field, probably nothing like what you thought I would say, but I'm sure it's going to be like $15-20. It reminds me of a lot of like Myst or Riven, which was like a click-based adventure, but this is actually like you control, I think, a character. It's kind of hard to say from what we've seen so far. The thing I can say, though, is Braid was special, and I don't have any doubt that Jonathan's next game, The Witness, will be special. So I definitely would say look at that. But moving beyond that, I think... it really depends what you're looking for. I have no doubt in my mind that Overwatch will come out and just smash it. I can't even imagine that it won't. But beyond that, Battleborn, I think, is a real sleeper. Battleborn is by 2K. It has the guys that, did Borderlands. This is the spiritual successor to Borderlands. The cool thing here is... This is a hero shooter that will appeal more towards the Destiny fans than Overwatch because it has a campaign, it has a co-op. You can go in, you can earn armors and stuff like that, and you can take 3 pieces of armor / weapons, I believe, or augments into your PvP matches that kind of help you augment your abilities to do different things.
Right.
So I really have my eye on Battleborn. I think Battleborn is going to be, out of all the hero shooters that come out, I think it's going to be a sleeper and be a monster in its own right. And I think it'll give Overwatch a run for its money when a lot of people are saying Overwatch is going to completely decimate the hero shooter landscape and nothing will stand in its way. Battleborn, I think, could give it at least a contending fight. Like, it's not going to be like a one-hit, bam, you're down. It's going to come out swinging, and I think it'll be good.
Word. For me, I would say it's going to be The Division. I know that's kind of cliche considering we talked about it already, but I'm looking at it from terms of savvy, right? My clan that I run, at least 75 to 85% of the community over there alone is going to be playing The Division. So in terms of getting in a game where you can... have some familiar faces, or if you are in a Destiny clan, I'm more than willing to bet that somebody or a large percentage of your clan is either pre-ordered or going to be after the beta here next week. So for me, in terms of playability, and like we said, the customization behind this game is enough for our hungry community, and I know we like to delve into things and break down stats and figure out what's the best setup here and there. So for me, I really don't think you can miss The Division if that's what you've been into and that's where you found this was through Destiny. I don't think you can miss The Division. So
yeah, I agree with you, especially because here stats matter.
Right.
At least that's what it seems like. Right now it looks like the stats actually are going to matter. As opposed to some of the choices with armor and Destiny, where it's like, oh, I can have arc burn or not, I can have this burn. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, It might change a little bit, but it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter when it comes down to it. So you got a lot of choices out there, folks. You heard it from Xero. He's saying Battleborn could be a sleeper. Keep your eye on Overwatch and obviously The Witness, which is a complete off the radar pick from him. So you definitely want to make sure you check that out. And for me, I'm calling The Division So that's what we're saying for now, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Leave us a comment down below letting us know what you think. What game are you absolutely picking up here in the first quarter of 2016? Are you playing Siege yet? If not, what are you playing? Leave it all below. Throw us a like on this video if you enjoyed the content. And also don't forget to check out all of our podcasts on Podbean and iTunes, where we are number 6 under games and hobbies, baby. Check us out. I'm Hambone, he's No Xero, and we'll see you when we see you.
Don't forget to check out the Patreon. We revamped it to $1 only.
Woo!